African. I was born and raised in South Africa and lived in England for a while and then in America. And I've been in America for about 20 years now. What originally brought me is my husband's job. My husband worked for Cadbury's in South Africa, Cadbury, Schweppes, London, and then Dr. Pepper was owned by Cadbury. So we came for the Dr. Pepper business, and that's what brought us to the United States. And so I'm also better known as Kyle's mother, so I'm a mother. I'm a business professional, and I have both international and local business experience. And so let me share, I'm going to take you on a journey of a story, but it actually sounds like a fairy tale, but it's not a fairy tale, it's actually reality. And it's amazing to be part of that journey, and what an honor to see where we are today. And then I'm going to share with you about the future of where we're going. Has anybody heard of my possibilities before? Oh, thank you, that's great. And so basically what we do, I'll give you a brief introduction, is that we provide a continuing education program for adults with special needs. Everybody in our program has an intellectual disability, and they are done with school. School is over. So let me share my story of how we got started, and then I'll do a fast forward, and then there'll be questions afterwards. So pretty much we come to this country, we arrived in 96, and my son goes into general special education in the Plano Independent School District. We live in Plano. My husband, if you know where the Dr. Pepper campus is, he's like, okay, after living in England, 5-mile radius, that's it, around the campus, we're not traveling. So we end up staying in Plano. My son goes through Renner Middle School, goes through the school in the special education department. That's fabulous, it's a great school environment. And fast forward, he's graduating from high school. So for those of you who know anybody with special education, there's an annual review every year. And this is the last one. They come to me and they say, oh, Charmaine, Carl's graduating next year. What are you going to do with Carl? And I was like, I don't know. What can I do? And they go, I don't know either. And so we go backwards and forwards about the idea that we don't know what happens when these kids graduate. So pretty much in the school district, children with special needs can go to school to the year of their 22nd birthday. And when school stops, that's it. There's nothing. So they gave me this scrubby little list, and I went to go and have a look. I started to investigate all these places. And the first thing I thought to myself was, goodness, there's no way I'm going to put my child in that place. Absolutely not. Little back offices, no windows, smelly. It was hard to tell who worked there and who attended there. Basically, we put adults with special needs out to retirement at age 22. We put them on white chairs, white desks, give them coloring in or Barbie movies. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is insane. How can we do this? And also as a business professional, I work full day. What am I going to do with my son when he's not, I can't leave him at home. So basically, what do mothers do? They call up other mothers and say, well, what are you doing? Right? That's what mothers do. And so we basically called up another mother that our kids went to school together, and said, what are you doing? She goes, I don't know, what are you doing? So for those of you who know the story of my possibilities, what do women do? Coffee or alcohol, right? So we said, okay, it's early in the morning, let's meet for coffee. So we met at Starbucks, and this is how prepared I was for the meeting. I took notes on the back of a napkin, and basically what we need to do and what we're going to do. So originally, especially coming from an international environment, you think to yourself, well, maybe I'm just disconnected, right? Come on, we've got these big Fortune 500 companies on Legacy Drive in downtown Dallas. What are we doing? How can this actually be allowed to happen? So we decided to call a town hall meeting because we're really still thinking that we're just disconnected. Surely there must be places that we don't know about. So that's what we do. We call a town hall meeting. Oh my gosh, 300 people show up in various stages of the same challenge. Now, my son was 21 at the time, but we're talking about 40-year-olds. And come to discover that when you have an adult, someone's given up their job. Someone's taking care of that adult, right? Or, what are you doing? What are you going to do with them? They're at home, and if they can be left alone, they're home alone, snacking and watching television every day, and totally isolated. So we're like, oh, that's crazy. So originally, we thought, oh, well, we'll solve the problem for ourselves. But after that town hall meeting, we realized that there was a need. And we realized that it was much more global. And we are all lifelong learners, right? We have the privilege of going to learn anything, whether you want to do art, you want to go back to school. We have the privilege of doing that. We don't extend that privilege to our adults. And you know, if you look at what they are, I mean, they're super talented. That's my handsome young man. I'm very proud to be his mother. And you know, we take for granted what we can do and the access that we have and the limitations that we provide for our children. And so that's how we began. We began with this idea of continuing education, that these guys deserve an opportunity to continue to learn to drive, to learn anything, art, music, drama. They have the right to continue to learn. The other thing that we don't do is we don't look just as all of us. We have many facets of us, right? We're creative, we're musical, we're all kinds of things that we do. We don't apply that principle to people with special needs. We tell them what to do. We say you can only do X, Y, Z. We don't say, gosh, what's your giftedness? Well, let's find your giftedness. Let's develop that. Let's give you the classes that you need. And that was a very unique idea at the time. So we started in 2007, we got together and we went from a very old-fashioned model of fundraising. And I'll fast forward there. How do women raise money? Bake sales, correct, bake sales, right? Selling other people's trash, right? And so what else do we do? Car washes, I mean, anything that you can think of. We had to raise $200,000 to get the doors open, and this is 2007. We did that in a year. Of course, we were A-type personalities. We got a group of women together who had different skill sets. Mine was the people side. We had somebody with finances because you do not want me behind your finances. And got together this core group of women that were very passionate. And the commonality was we all had children with special needs that we needed to solve this problem for. That's how we got together. Raised $200,000, opened. So from June 2007 to June 2008, we raised the $200,000 to open up a facility. Let me tell you, finding a facility was a nightmare. Nobody would loan us or hire us a building. I guess our people are contagious. And so no place would allow us to rent a facility for what we wanted to do. We were going to provide a day program. No one would allow us the building. There was just one man who, and I think he was desperate because it was an old bank building that looked like a derelict building. And he had a daughter with special needs and he lived in Houston. And he said, okay, you guys can do it. But I'm going to get it to you, but you have to fix it up. We're like, okay, I guess we could do that. We were so desperate. So we opened in 2008 in June, and guess what happened that year? The economy tanked, right? Just after we opened. So fundraising was challenging. We had a lot of problems. So we started with 10 students, and then the rest is history. Today, I'll fast forward, we serve 650 people through our building. We cannot build these buildings fast enough. The need is amazing. Even in our new campus, which is just on the George Bush between Independence and Court, we can't build these buildings fast enough. The need for what we do is incredible. We're very unique in what we do. No one applies continuing education to our guys. Let me tell you, they are the most gifted and talented people that are underestimated in terms of the workforce and what that can bring. So we open up and then we get this building, 10,000 square foot with 10 students. And of course we're all nail biting because we have to pay the rent, right? So we go on this traditional fundraising method, which is all these events, right? Golf tournaments, all the things that one has to do. And started with 100% volunteer, right? Us mommies were doing everything. Cleaning the toilets, doing everything that you needed to do. And today, we employ 100 people. So just think about that, and that's happening. This year we'll be celebrating 12 years. And so the investment in an idea was the first thing, and a passionate investment because it was personal. My son deserved something better. Every adult needs something better. Our parents deserve something better. You know, just think about poverty. You try and live on one salary today, it's impossible, right? And so someone's given up a job. And I don't know if you know, but in our industry with special needs, divorce is rampant, right? So single parents raising these adults. And so that's another thing. So think about our adults, think about their families, think about their lifestyles. We decided that we would open 8 days so that we could open from 8 to 6, so mom and dad could go back to work. And that's the first thing that happens. The student enrolls with us, and they say to us, can we go back to work? Of course, the answer is yes. By the way, we refer to our adults as hipsters, hugely important people, because we wanted to make sure that you understood how we felt about these adults. That this would be our passion. So we invest in our hipsters. We invest in who they are, their potential, their giftedness, and their right for human dignity, right? Because they deserve everything that you and I do. And just because they have an intellectual disability does not mean we put them in a box and we limit them, right? My son works today. He works down the road. I drive past this building every day. It's taken him a while to be able to be employed, but he's employed. And let me tell you, that dignity of going to work, he will not miss work. There's no way that he's going to miss work. And when he gets there, he's going to work with passion. Yesterday, one of the adults talked to me about her bus being late. That made her late for work. She was so upset because she had missed an hour of work because her bus was late. That passion, right? How many of us show up on Monday and go, yes, I want to be here, and I'm going to be 100% in my job? No. I know you're on jobs.com, right? So just think about that passion and purpose, and we're coming to that, building that energy. So let's come to where we are today. So our first building was 10,000 square foot, and we outgrew that, but we just outgrew that. The second building that we bought was an old, derelict building again. Obviously, as a non-for-profit, you don't have the luxury of buying things. You have to buy old things and kind of refix it. So we bought a 23,000 square foot building, thinking, wow, that's fantastic. They'll give us 3 years of a runway. No, 6 months we were out of that space. We moved in July. In December, we were back at the drawing board to say, wow, this is crazy. We're full. We can't take in any more students. Another waiting list, 100 people on the waiting list. That's when the board took a strategic direction to say, let's invest. Let's invest in land. Let's buy a piece of property where buildings don't become our limitation. Now, just think about the cost of buying 20 acres of land, and then building. Just think of those numbers. Well, I can tell you what the numbers are. $25 million. And so for a small non-for-profit, in 2013, to have an ambitious goal of raising $25 million is insane. We hired a capital campaign consultant to come and help us develop this campaign. And we're like, you can't do this. And we're like, yes, we can. And they're like, you're nuts. And we're like, no, we believe it. We believe that we're going to invest in our people. Our people deserve a campus, and we are going to, blood, sweat, and tears, we're going to do this. So, with the help of a donor, and we bought 20 acres of land from UTD. UTD were not going to develop the land on this side of George Bush. They were very helpful to hold that land for us so we could raise money, and of course we had to raise money to buy that building. And it's not just buying the building, it's wild, it looked like a jungle. We had to build these buildings on it. And so we developed this $25 million campaign that people told us, you're crazy, it's never going to happen. The organization doesn't have the infrastructure, doesn't have the donors, doesn't have this, doesn't have that. How many times have people told you not to do something? And yes. And did you follow it? No. Because if you did, you wouldn't do anything. And of course, I don't know about you, but I'm pretty stubborn. The word no doesn't mean anything to me. It's like, no, maybe not this minute, or this way round, or underneath it. And we have a very stubborn and determined team. Michael is our executive director. Michael has been with us for 10 years, and an incredible person. And he apologizes for not being here today. But guess where Michael is today? When a donor says, come and spend quality time with me and have interface with me, and I'll give you some money, that's where Michael is. Right? And I apologize for that, but unfortunately money is really critical to our organization. So we buy this land, and we design this capital campaign, and we build this building. And if you won't see our building, but it looks like this. I've got some information for you. So our building is, it looks like a U-shaped building. And basically what it is, we have built the one side of the building, and we moved in because we also had to sell our other building. And we sold it, but those of you in the construction field, how many times have you built something that's not on time? And so we were really nervous about that, right? And so we built one building so we could move in. Good news is breaking ground on building number 2 begins at the end of February, beginning of March, and it's the Launchability Career Services building. So what we do in the building that we are now, think of a university campus. We sign up for classes. Every 14 weeks, there's a catalogue of classes that come out with about 80 to 90 classes. Our adults choose the subjects that they want to study. Think major, minor, and elective. Major is work or living independently. All the electives of art, music, drama, dance, clubs, etc. A very enriching curriculum that you choose from. You choose your subjects, you sign up for your classes. The second building, think liberal arts building and think business school. So the second building will be the Launchability Career Services building. Think job pods, think Home Depot, FedEx Office, anything like that that can employ our adults. And so we will train them in the fields of hospitality, restaurant, whatever it is, and then be able to place them in the community. Now we own that whole pipeline. We can train them and we can place them. And they can take as long as they like through that pipeline. We fundamentally believe our guys are capable of working. It may just take a longer period of time. And that's our job, is to provide that runway to be able to do that. We break ground. Of the $25 million, we have raised 24.7. Isn't that amazing? And I can tell you, that we are ordinary people. We're just normal people. I don't have extraordinary skills, none of us do, but we work hard. We invest in our adults, we invest in our buildings because we want that dignity piece. We want to make sure that you understand that our adults come first and they deserve nothing but the best. So when you walk into our building, you don't see a back office room you see a campus, you see that dignified space, right? And then the third thing that we invest in, moving to the future, is creative ideas, new thoughts. Anybody here in the non-for-profit space? Okay. How about the money? We all compete. Lots of beautiful missions, correct? Everybody's got a passion. Where does the money come from? One small pot of money, right? And typically they give to very big organizations. Not that I want to criticize anybody, because everybody's got a big mission. Red Cross, children's cancer. Our guys aren't cute and cuddly anymore. It's very hard to get money. You have to get very, very creative on how to do money. Everybody does a golf tournament. Everybody does a gala. The problem with those things is that they are expensive. They are incredibly labor intensive, and you really net very little money. So we've had to get very creative about saying, how are we going to sustain this? Because for every adult that's in our building, we fundraise for that person. There is a fee for service, but it does not cover the entire thing. For every person, we raise money. So everybody's on a partial scholarship. So last year, $1.4 million just went into operating, just for break even. That's not a capital campaign, that's nothing. So I'll share with you some of our plans. So the nicest and most exciting thing that I've been part of is that we have changed what's expected for people. Now everybody offers our adults a continuing education program. And I'm like, yes, that's what our guys deserve. So the competition from what we've done, we never planned to be competitive because we're so focused on our mission. But we've actually changed the global landscape. People understand what we do. They understand the pressure, and suddenly now they see the potential that these guys have. So that investment in the passion of what we do had a huge splash. I never imagined that. Little napkin at the back of on a Starbucks napkin. To think of the campus that we own today is insane. Nobody would imagine that to do. So don't ever limit your dreams, right? You get up, but I want to tell you, it didn't come easily. It's investment of time, blood, sweat, tears. Those of you in your own business, who's in your own business? Okay, who started that business? Okay, for those of you who started that business, it ain't easy, right? It's a lot of pressure, and you work hard, and that's what we do. Then the third thing that we invest in is our people. Now, for those of you in the non-profit space, every time you employ someone, it's called overhead. There's a thing that non-profits have. If you give me $1, everybody wants that dollar to go straight into the consumer. The challenge is, how do you grow as an organization? How do you hire people? And I don't know if you know about GuideStar, but GuideStar rates non-for-profits. And basically, when you are rated, they look at that and they mark you negatively if you're not giving more than 80% back to the program. How do you grow with that? How do you invest in good people? How do you hire good people? Well, that's what we've decided to do. It's okay about the rating. We want the best of the best. If I'm going to expect someone to teach my adults, I want the best. I want somebody who cares about that person. I want someone who understands what they're doing to be that kind of person. So we invest a lot of money in our people. We try and hire them competitively. They're all full-time, benefits, medical insurance, all kinds of stuff like that, because that's how we invest. We've also had to get creative and say, we don't need you to be at the building at 8 o'clock. If you need a flexible work schedule, that's fine. We have a new baby policy at My Possibilities. For the first 6 months of the baby's life, you can bring your baby to work, right? Keep your mummies there. We have talented women in our organization. We want them. We want them back from maternity leave. Our organization is created by mothers. Why would we not support mothers? And so they bring their babies. Let me tell you, it's the best place to work. Hugs and high fives from the adults, and beautiful baby giggles all day. I love it. I'm telling you, there's no way I'm missing a day at the office. But we've had to get very creative because traditional things says 8 to 5, 8 to 6, be at your desk. Some of our mommies, some of our adults have their own, some of our teachers, some of our staff have their own children and that flexibility. So we are able to really retain really good people by being much more flexible on rules. We can create the rules at our organization. Makes us much more flexible to be able to do that. So that's how we invest in our people. We think of creative things like, what do they need? What would make us the most attractive place to work? How can we make sure, because we can't pay them top dollar, but we can give them the other things that are important to them. And then, are they passionate about what we do? Right? Do they care what we do? Because that's another important thing. Don't come work for us if you really don't like working with adults with special needs or can't do it. Don't come do that. Don't come and raise money for us if you're not passionate about what you're doing. You're not going to do it. You're not going to raise that money. You have to be very passionate about what we're doing. And we are really becoming a trendsetter in that market. So those are the things. So for me, I have personally invested in something that I believe in. I've personally invested in my son, and he's doing great today. We invest in our adults. We make sure that they get the best of the best. And then we invest in our buildings and our structure and our people. So there's a lot of investment that goes into that. But let me go back to the fundraising. We've had to raise a lot of money. We get money from the worst funded state. Many of our adults get money from the Medicaid waiver funding. And if I can tell you what that's like, in our state, we are 50 out of 51 states for funding. We're at the bottom of it. And there's a 15-year waiting list for services for people with special needs. 15 years, right? And there's no movement. We fall under the health and services budget, and guess whose budget miraculously gets cut every year? Ours. And so there's no money in that industry. So we've had to work very hard to be able to do that. Let me give you an idea of what an adult gets. Anywhere between $19 and $24 a day. Who have you bought your dog? You cannot board your dog for that, right? It's insane that we would do that. But what we've invested in is what we're going to do. We're calling this the sustainability piece. We are building on our campus a retail section where people can come and have a coffee shop, they can do restaurants, they can pay us money like this to come and have a business on our property. First of all, the core criteria is that you have to employ our adults, right? You have to train our adults, employ them, and provide a service to the community. And that way we're empowering our adults to get jobs in a very visible space, properly paid by the way, and then use it as a training site for further things. And that's part of our investment. For example, we have a business called Soap Hope. Who likes healthy soap products and stuff like that, right? We have a business, this online business, that we have a whole brand of products. Behind the scenes, guess who's doing that job? All of our adults. They pick the product, they post the product, they put a little note in that says lovingly hand by. And so we have to get very creative about how we do that. But we have to open up a different business entity called the B Corp. A benefit corporation allows you to have a for-profit business, but all your profits get supported on for profit. So we have to think very creatively about how we do that. And that's what we're doing in the future. In the future, you'll see, you'll come and have lunch on our campus, you'll come and have coffee, you'll come and buy soaps, you'll do all of that. And the first thing you're going to see is the person serving you has an intellectual disability. But you won't notice it. Because it doesn't matter at that point. It's human to human. Because they're doing a job, they're making a service to you. You're serving them, they're serving you. And guess what? What are you learning? You're just learning that they're humans, just like you and me. And they deserve every bit of what they get. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.